All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of funny ever since, cryptos really started taking off, not even so much earlier this year, or even the first 3 months or so. It seemed like it was kind of that, May, June, and then definitely July, kind of a thing. Here we are in August, that, it's almost like, oh, forget gold and silver. And we cannot ever forget gold and silver. They've got thousands of years of history as being money, as being a store of value, an extremely well used, I'll call it a tool, if you will, to save your financial livelihood, and have many of the past, have done so many, in the past many times. That, just because cryptos are all of a sudden, this great, incredible returns, this one's up 20% today, this one's up 30, oh my gosh, 50%. Holy crap, 3-4 weeks later, this one's up multiples, 500, 600%, you know what I mean? How can you ignore that? I understand. Believe me, you know who you're talking to right now. Mr. Crypto, all of a sudden this year. But we should never ever forget why precious metals are actually important. Because they have a history where cryptos have no history. At least not yet, anyways, of saving people's bacons, or bacon in the future. People recall back, oh, do you remember, cryptos? Oh yeah, we've been using those for 400 years now. Yeah, back when they first started out, there was a big financial collapse in the year 2018, and whatever, who knows? But they don't have that history yet, which is why I tell people, as you start to make some profits and stuff, if you're playing this crypto game, for sure, you need to put some of that into some metals. And here's the thing. I don't care who you use. I don't care if you go to SD Bullion or JM Bullion or your mama's Bullion. Doesn't matter. I really don't care. I just happen to have a special link that SD Bullion created for me, for my subscribers, of course, that gives them a 10-ounce silver bar at spot price. And that's for new customers only. And I will mention that at the end of this video, which I guess I'll mention it now and then at the end. sdbullion.com/jsnip4. The link to that site is in the bottom part of my description box of this video, in all videos that I do. You can just click on it there if you want. It's basically a 10-ounce bar of silver at spot price, no premium whatsoever for new customers. If you're new to possibly stacking or about to start stacking metals, highly recommend getting started sometime at some point, and that right now might be a good idea if you haven't yet. Here's a couple of articles, both from Zero Hedge, okay? And again, just because cryptos are taking off, oh, gold and silver, that's old news. No, it's not. No, it's not. And the big countries we always talk about, China, India, etc., they're still stacking with both hands and fists. In China, which I think might be in, I'm not sure if it's in one of these articles or not. China, which I think maybe I discussed that one yesterday. No more export. We don't want exporting of gold. We only want to import gold. So they're already producing quite a number of ounces per year for themselves in their own country, but they're also importing, and they do not want any exports of gold. So I will ask the question, if cryptocurrencies are the next greatest thing, forget gold and silver, why would sovereign giant countries like India, China, Russia still be stacking metals with both hands and feet, so to speak? They might know something you and I don't know, although maybe I think I know, and I could certainly be wrong. But what I think I know is that whenever this big collapse, reset of currencies, whatever has to happen to flush this debt down the toilet worldwide, whatever comes out, regardless if it's attached to cryptos or not, must be backed by a precious metal. That's what I think is going to happen. And again, if you look at the 1988 Economist magazine cover with the what do you call it? The gold necklace, the medallion, so to speak, this giant gold coin, 2018, get ready for a new world currency. Again, 30 years ago, and they timed it now with the massive debt created across the world. Hundreds of trillions of dollars. Just coincidentally. Anyway, so here's one of the articles. World's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater, buys $68 million of gold ETF. Now, granted, it's just $68 million. Not a huge amount. Well, $68 million of gold. And it just so happens to be the world's largest hedge fund. Why, again, why are they all of a sudden thinking there's this need to get into precious metals all of a sudden? Again, maybe some of these people at the top and at the top companies know something you and I don't know, or at least they thought they did, which is why I started stacking silver specifically years ago and have been talking about it years past, at least probably 2010, 2011. I was getting into silver back in 2007, was when I actually first started. So, world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater, buys $68 million of gold ETF. World's largest hedge fund, whatever, in quarter two. Investors poured $870 million in the SPDR gold fund in quarter two. So, that's not necessarily Bridgewater. That's investors poured nearly $1 billion, $870 million, into SPDR gold in quarter two. And I believe that's Eric Sprott's fund. Billionaire Paulson keeps 4.36 million shares in SPDR gold. Risks are now rising and do not appear appropriately priced in, warns Dalio on LinkedIn. Investors should avoid ETFs and paper gold and own physical gold. Strongly agree. So I understand investors poured $870 million into SPDR gold, shares, which are allegedly for each share there should be an ounce of gold or whatever. But hey, you don't hold it, you don't own it. Given negative interest rates, companies should consider allocating some of corporate deposits into physical gold. That's an interesting one. What's this? Gold prices? Nothing there. I'm going to go on to the next article. India. Oh, wait a minute. Did I say China? Maybe this was the article I was referring to, not China. But I could have swore it was China too, that no exports. They don't want exports. Maybe it was India. Maybe I'm gonna have to correct myself here. Could have swore it was China just yesterday I was talking about. But nonetheless, scratch that. Retract it. Another big country known as India has implemented that rule. Authored by Mike Shedlock via mishtalk.com. In addition to its crackdown on cash, India stepped up its attack on gold. The aim is to cut down on gold imports. India does that in a roundabout way by cracking down on exports. India has banned the export of gold products with a purity above 22 carats. Again, 24 carats basically being about as close as pure gold as you can get. India has banned the export of gold products with a purity above 22 carats with immediate effect. A move that the industry sees as a way of curbing irregularities in the trade. The Directorate General of Foreign Trade issued a notice limiting shipments of jewelry, coins, and medallions to 22 carats or below without giving a reason. Normally, they give some kind of reason, right? Like the nonsense their Prime Minister Modi. Hey, we're going to give her the 500 rupee note. And it crushed the poor people. Didn't even have time to run to the bank and turn them in, basically. Just too late. Sorry, lost your wealth. Have a nice day. To ban black market trade and drug trade and stuff. That's why we're doing this. No, that's not why you're doing it. We know why you're doing it. You want a cashless society, ultimately. But again, at least, they'll give a nonsensical reason. This time, not a word. The move may be to reduce round-tripping of jewelry and coins. Right, so maybe this is why. Wherein a trader can import the gold coins or jewelry at a lower import tax because of trade agreements with some countries and re-export the same stock without any value addition, said Ketan Shroff, Joint Secretary of the India Bullion and Jewelers Association, Ltd. The exporters would benefit from not paying the 10% import tax currently levied on most inbound shipments of gold, he said. So what he's trying to suggest, these companies, certain countries, companies within those countries have trade agreements with these people in India, these companies in India, whereas there's not this 10% tax added to it. So they can then turn around, sell it for essentially 10% higher, if you will, or re-export it But, I mean, he says, wherein a trader can import the gold coins or jewelry at a lower import tax because of trade agreements with some countries and then re-export the same stock without any value addition. Well, that would also assume, if he's right, okay, so let's say you're getting a shipment of jewelry, it's $100, easy math. $100, normally there's 10% attached to that, so $110, your little import tax. So you just got this stuff for $100 plus $10 because of the 10% increase on the this import tax. You're out of pocket $110. So if you go to re-export that, you have to export it at least what you paid for it. But then there's no money involved, right? So you're going to have to export it for more than that. Which would make you ask the question, well, whoever the hell you're exporting that to, wouldn't they just get it from the other person rather than use you as the middleman who has to tack on this extra fee? Correct. So if they can get it at $100 without the 10% tax and then re-export it elsewhere, my same question still applies to me. They got it at market value. They're going to have to re-export it essentially at market value. There's no room for profit. So I don't know. Yeah, that's one of the things. Maybe there's a way around this that he's just not being clear on, you know. But Indian exports are said to have more than doubled last month from a year ago. Most partly due to a jump in purchases from South Korea, which said India has a free trade agreement. Importers have previously used free trade treaties with countries such as Thailand and Indonesia to escape the import duty. So maybe they save on the import duty and then export to another country who also saves on their import duty. Thus, you can mark it up a little bit. You know, I don't know. Just trying to come up with something in this guy's favor. Bottom line, South Korea is all of a sudden interested in gold? When have I ever come out here and done a video on that? Oh, South Korea is now interested in gold. Again, these are countries. Big companies within these countries too. All of a sudden, stepping up their game in gold and silver, when in fact the cryptocurrency markets where all the action's happening, what are these people doing, right? Maybe they know something you and I don't know, which is why I'm glad to say I've got my stack of silver sitting there, you know, safe, in my safe, so to speak. You know, like I say, if you, I don't have pieces of paper that says, oh, here's a warehouse receipt, or, you know, call this number to, you know, get your gold shipped to you, or silver shipped to you. No, I'll handle the safekeeping myself. Thanks. Seen that one in a time or two. For reference, see John Corzine's MF Global debacle, where he used his customers' allocated money that should be like in a safe, so to speak, where he can't touch it. Somehow he got it, bet on the market, lost the bet on the market, and promptly went bankrupt, taking all his investors' money with him. I don't know how that ever got settled. I never heard the full end of it, other than most of the people got their money back. But not before people like me on YouTube. Gerald Talente, a big player in this, he got screwed over by them. He was making a lot of noise, and rightfully so. Okay, I will. It went promptly to JP Morgan because they owed JP Morgan a bunch of money. You know, they were the mid-tier broker or whatever, if you will. But anyways, that's a different story. So bottom line, if you're going to buy precious metals, you must store them yourself. I don't care if you hide them in your freaking wall or in the roof or what, bury it. I don't care. I would not have my metals at some facility somewhere else. Never. So anyways, if anyone else take advantage of the 10-ounce silver bar at spot price, all you pay for is shipping, which is very cheap, by the way. sdbullion.com/jsnip4. The link is in the bottom of all my videos in the description box towards the very bottom. New customers only. And it's a special bar. I think it's called the Proclaim Liberty Silver Bar. But again, silver is silver is silver. Doesn't matter. Take care.